evening and welcome to BATV News. I'm Kalila Reynolds. The National Housing Trust, NHT, plans to spend over $29 billion in housing solutions by the end of the 2018 fiscal year. Andrew Laidley has been going through the 2017-18 estimates of expenditure.
The $29 billion being spent will see the construction of more than 6,000 houses and over 2,000 residential lots in 42 developments across 11 parishes. Under the NHT's minimum term housing program, some 11,875 new housing solutions will be developed and financed. The NHT plans to implement an enterprise content management framework to manage information throughout the organization in a strategic manner. Projections for contribution inflows this fiscal year is over $30 billion, while mortgage repayments is expected to amount to over $21 billion. The projected income for the trust this fiscal year is almost $33 billion, up from just over $30 billion last year. In the meantime, the drawdown of $11.4 billion from the NHT by the government will come to an end in March of this year, although there are speculations that the government will continue to make withdrawals from the NHT by exercising its legal authority. In 2013, when the PNP government announced that it will withdraw $11.4 billion from the NHT for 4 years, the current administration, while in opposition, criticized the then government, accusing the Portia Simpson-Miller administration of raiding the NHT. Then opposition spokesman on finance Audley Shaw threatened to take the matter before the court. The NHT drawdown is usually used to support the budget and help finance other programs. For BATV News, I'm Andrew Laidley.
Meanwhile, President of the Jamaica Manufacturers Association, JMA, Metris Siaga, says he's not in support of the government taking money from the National Housing Trust NHT contributions to add to the consolidated fund.
Should the government be taking money from NHT? No, absolutely not. We don't feel that the NHT was designed to be used as a tax to the consolidated fund like that. It in effect becomes an income tax and not being used for the purpose it is.
He argues that NHT contributions should only be used to build houses for contributors.
There needs to be significantly more creativity in the use of NHT funds to get people who have contributed to get them what they contributed for.
In the meantime, Metris Siaga says factory space is one of the major impediments to growth in the manufacturing sector. Mr. Siaga was speaking at a press briefing held at the JMA headquarters yesterday. More in this report.
Metris Siaga says the manufacturing sector needs more factory space to grow. He says discussions with the Factories Corporation of Jamaica FCJ has so far been unfruitful.
Factory space remains one of the most fundamental concerns of the association. The demand for the availability and provision of suitable space for the productive sector is simply not being met, particularly for smaller or micro and small manufacturers. We have been in dialogue with the Factories Corporation of Jamaica over the last 2 years to address the issue, but to no avail.
Mr. Siaga says he reached out to the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation to develop a framework which will allow more factories to be built, but is yet to receive any word from them.
We find the slow rate of response by the Factories Corporation unsatisfactory, and we'll continue to make representation to the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation for consideration to be given to a development-type framework for improving the accessibility and infrastructure of available factory space to our manufacturers.
The JMA president claims that the FCJ has given factory spaces over to non-manufacturers, which is contributing to the problem.
It is currently occupied by non-manufacturers, by traders and wholesalers. And what we are recommending is that the Factories Corporation quickly either purchase or build some factory space at competitive and concessionary pricing to the manufacturing sector, especially the small manufacturers. We have put some proposals forward and we are hoping that they will be taken on board, and we feel that that'll take care of one of the major issues that we're having, which is the factory space.
For BATV News, I'm Andrew Laidley.
Minister of Tourism Ed Bartlett says the implementation of the 5 pillars of tourism growth and networks will further diversify the country's tourism offerings, create business opportunities, and increase the use of local goods and services within the sector. The minister says the 5 new networks, gastronomy, sports and entertainment, health and wellness, shopping, and the knowledge economy, were officially launched in December 2016 as part of the Tourism Linkages Network initiative. He says they will help to better position the sector to generate higher growth rates in both visitor arrivals and earnings. He says, in addition, the networks will focus on strengthening the linkage with the manufacturing and agricultural sectors, as well as the creative industries. He says the sector intends to establish Devon House in Kingston as the center of gastronomy. The minister argues that Jamaica is well positioned to attract more visitors through gastronomy, as it has probably the most ideal mix of ethnicity and culture, which is reflected in the island's food. Minister Bartlett says there's also a plan to encourage investments for big shopping malls that can attract and maintain the attention of visitors. He adds that discussions are also being held with local and international promoters on ways to build out the entertainment and sport product. Minister Bartlett was speaking recently at a Diplomatic Week ministerial briefing held at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. And still to come, JMMB's net profits continue to soar. We'll tell you by how much after the break. Welcome back. The JMMB Group is reporting a net profit of $2.68 billion for the 9-month period ended December 2016. JMMB says that figure reflects a 55% year-over-year increase. Anthony Morgan reports.
The JMMB Group says for the reporting period it experienced growth of 30%, totaling $11.06 billion in operating revenue. The group says its performance can be attributed to growth across all its revenue lines, namely net gains on securities, net interest income, fees and commission, and net foreign exchange trading. JMMB says net gains on securities increased by $1.36 billion, up by 48% over the comparative period, totaling $4.17 billion. It says this growth was driven by leveraging market opportunities and increased investor appetite in emerging market assets because of the high cash levels in circulation globally. Additionally, it says the positive economic outlook for Jamaica spurred higher demand for Government of Jamaica global bonds with increasing trading volumes. JMMB says net interest income also grew by $844 million to $5.07 billion when compared to the previous period, resulting from growth in investment and loan portfolios. Additionally, fees and commission income increased by $185 million over the previous quarter. The group also reports that net foreign exchange earnings increased by 18% to $931 million comparative to the previous period as a result of increased volume in trading coupled with a one-off market opportunity during the first quarter. JMMB says its asset base totaled some $253 billion, which reflects an increase of 10% relative to March 2016. It says this resulted from the growth of $17.96 billion and $6.7 billion respectively in investment and loan portfolios. It also reported that entities across the group remain adequately capitalized, ending the period at $25.3 billion. Meanwhile, JMMB says operating expenses saw a 21% increase year-over-year, totaling $7.62 billion. In the meantime, the group says its regional diversification strategy also continues to reap positive results as demonstrated by increased operating revenue in all the territories. However, Jamaica retained the lion's share of the revenue generated by the financial entity, totaling $8.4 billion in operating revenue due to the increased trading activity. For BATV News, I'm Anthony Morgan.
After participating in a JAMPRO-led trade mission to Panama last year, Lasco Manufacturing has landed an official distributor in the Panamanian market to promote and retail its products. The company's Lasco food drink is now in 2 major supermarket chains, as well as 28 other retailers. Market Development Manager at Lasco, Cornelia Walters-Jones, says the company was pleased by the development and that JAMPRO had been assisting it with getting products into Panama. Lasco says it's now looking toward expanding its reach in Panama by adding the popular La Soy line instant chocolate and the recently launched ice cream product Ice Dream to its offerings in the country. Meanwhile, JAMPRO Vice President of Export and Market Development Robert Scott says the agency had been steadily creating opportunities for companies in Panama through the Expo Comer trade show, which last year generated approximately $131 million and received over 12,000 attendees. He says the agency was using the show as a marketing opportunity for Jamaican companies, as it provided a gateway into the Central American market, which is expected to expand rapidly because of the widening of the Panama Canal. Finance Minister Audley Shaw signed the $326 million loan agreement with the China Exim Bank today for the new Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project and the extension of the tolled East-West Highway from Maypen to Williamsfield in Manchester. A release from the Finance Ministry says at the signing ceremony, the president of the Exim Bank assured Mr. Shaw of the bank's commitment to further supporting Jamaica in its economic development program. Minister Shaw also met the China Vice Minister of Commerce, and it was mutually agreed to explore the possibility of entering into a memorandum of understanding to put in place mechanisms for the establishment of logistics, industrial and agro parks in Jamaica. Meetings were also held with the chairman of the China Development Bank on the financing of the North-South Highway and the financing of future investment projects. The Finance Ministry's release noted that there were fruitful discussions with Mr. Chen Chun-ming, head of Jiquan Iron and Steel JISCO, on the reopening and development of Alpart and on the several opportunities that will flow, including agricultural development opportunities for small farmers in central Jamaica. Discussions were also held with the president of China Harbor Engineering Company, CHEC. Mr. Shaw was accompanied at the meetings by Mike Henry, Minister of Transport and Mining, Senator Auburn Hill, Investment Ambassador, and His Excellency Antonia Hugh, Jamaica's ambassador to China. And the government has signed a framework agreement with the People's Republic of China for development cooperation on production capacity and investment. The signing took place at the Ministry of Industry, Commerce and Agriculture and Fisheries this morning. Kaniel Gale reports.
Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries Minister Carl Samuda says the relationship between Jamaica and China spans over 4 decades. He says the signing solidifies both countries' commitment to growth.
China and Jamaica have enjoyed 45 years of diplomatic relations. Over those many years, there are certain things that have been absolutely constant. One, the level of friendship and support and cooperation that we have shared between our 2 nations, and our consistent support for a one China policy.
Minister Samuda says one benefit which will come from the signing is infrastructural development for Jamaica.
We will see the establishment of a steering committee for cooperation between our both nations on production capacity building. As His Excellency Ning said, we had very meaningful discussions earlier this morning where basic strategies were outlined in terms of moving this process forward. And one of the principal strategies is the support for the development of infrastructure, both hard infrastructure and soft infrastructure.
He also notes that increased trade in manufacturing and tourism with China is also on the horizon.
I have discerned from our discussions and almost you may classify it as renewed interest in support for the establishment of light manufacturing, tourism investments, as well as in the areas of agriculture.
For BATV News, I'm Kenil Gale.
Stay with us. Regional and international stories are after the break. Welcome back. It's time now for regional and international news. St. Vincent's new Argyle International Airport was officially opened on Tuesday. Excited Vincentians flocked to the facility to get a glimpse of the first flights out of the mega facility in the east of the island. According to Eyewitness News, Dynamic Airways was one of several chartered flights which touched down on the 9,000-foot runway. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, while speaking at the flag-raising ceremony, said the airport is a bridge to the world and is a combination of human intelligence and divine inspiration. The state-of-the-art facility features a terminal building that can host 1.5 million passengers annually. Dr. Gonsalves praised the contributions of what he called regional and international friends who contributed to the construction of the airport, including Turkey, Taiwan, Trinidad and Tobago, Venezuela, Cuba, Libya, Iran, Britain, Canada, and the United States. The Prime Minister also made a special appeal to Vincentians to put aside politics and embrace the airport as their own. Nestlé's new CEO has scrapped the food company's long-standing sale target as it reports disappointing annual results. Sonia Legg reports.
It was his first public appearance since becoming CEO of Nestlé, and Ulf Mark Schneider might have hoped to be delivering better news. The maker of Kit Kat chocolate bars and Nescafé coffee reported a 3.2% sales increase for 2016. That's more than 0.5% down on 2015, and the fourth time it's missed its target of 5 to 6%.
What we are hoping from the new CEO, Mr. Schneider, that perhaps he would bring the nutrition at the heart of his strategy. He would put more money towards research and products, because that's where the revenue will come from. Organic growth 5.4%, we know today that that's not going to happen. The real figure is going to be 2.4%.
The world's largest producer of packaged food isn't the only consumer goods group to report tepid results. Weakness in emerging markets, down from 7 to 5.3% in Nestlé's case, has also hit Danone and Unilever, and that's not their only problem.
Deflation, which they have been facing very badly over in the Eurozone. Their infant products aren't doing that well either. Finally, it's the competition over in the US when it comes to the chocolate market.
Schneider's given up on current targets. He's instead going for mid-single-digit organic growth and significant structural cost savings by 2020. And there's one encouraging aspect: prices should start improving. Now inflation is on the up.
A surge in local cotton prices and a crackdown on fake Egyptian cotton worldwide are reviving interest in cultivating the long-neglected crop in Egypt. Ivor Bennett reports.
It's the first time these machines have run at full capacity in a year. Ijiyan factory near Cairo is back in business.
We were dealing with 8 or 9 companies, but this year I'm dealing with 16. In 2014 and 2015, business was bad, but with this new cotton, things have changed. Clients are increasing. We have companies in Pakistan and Bangladesh ordering our yarn.
The weakness of the Egyptian pound was part of the problem. Profits were so hard to come by, cotton production fell to a 100-year low. That meant some manufacturers started using poorer quality alternatives for bedding and clothing. Last year, it's estimated 90% of global supplies were fake. US retail chain Target helped expose the problem. It accused textile manufacturer Wellspun India of using cheaper cotton, which led to a worldwide crackdown.
There's a lot of attention at the moment, especially from the Trade Ministry, to improve the whole supply chain of Egypt's textile industry. So we're expecting Egyptian cotton to return this year after its worst ever season.
The crackdown has boosted cotton prices, and the flotation of the Egyptian pound in November has also helped exporters. That's revived interest in growing cotton, and there are high hopes of bumper crops from next month's planting season. The weather is key. Cotton plants like long sunny days, but that's the norm in Egypt. Its most famous export could soon be helping reduce a massive trade deficit and revive a stagnant economy.
Philippines Environment Minister Reginald Lopez has ordered the cancellation of 75 mining contracts, stepping up a campaign to stop the extraction of resources in sensitive areas. David Pollard reports.
For some, a blot on the landscape, for others, a livelihood. But that livelihood, for these miners, is now dead.
Wala po kaming operation.
As of this moment, we don't have any operations, and with the pronouncement, everyone's sad and they're looking for jobs elsewhere.
Hendrik was speaking in early February after 4 mines here in Zambales province were closed. In total, 23 of the Philippines' 41 mines ordered shut as part of a crackdown.
There should be no mining.
Companies accused of breaching environmental laws firmly in the sights of Environment Secretary Regina Lopez. She now also cancelling 75 mining contracts.
I would prefer that they go away because that kind of investment, which is raping us, we don't benefit from it at all.
Where Lopez argues the mines silt up coastal waters and destroy watersheds, others argue the closures destroy futures, possibly impacting 1.2 million people, according to an industry lobby. The alternative proposed for towns like Santa Cruz as a tourist destination, just not viable for this miner's spokesman.
We cannot offer anything. Our islands here are too underdeveloped to become a tourist destination.
Local environmentalists take the longer view.
May mga anak po kami, may mga apo po kami.
We have children and grandchildren who depend on the environment. Now, if our environment is destroyed, how will they live on?
Paano naman po sila?
Hanging in the balance for the Philippines, mining projects some worth billions of dollars, along with the risk that a world-leading export trade in nickel ore could be about to slip out of their grasp.
Stay with us. Talking Stocks is after the break. Welcome back. It's time now for Talking Stocks. 50 stocks traded today, of which 20 advanced, 24 declined, and 6 traded firm. The main JSE index advanced by 320 points to close at 230,246. The junior index declined by 48 points to close at over 3,000. Over 8 million units traded, valued at more than $61 million on the Jamaican dollar market. And on the U.S. dollar market, 661,288 units traded, valued at over 207,000 U.S. dollars. Lasco Manufacturing, with over 1 million units changing hands, accounted for 13% of market volume. Lasco Financial Services was second with 819,000 units trading. Cable and Wireless accounted for over 809,000 units, amounting to 10% of market volume. Caribbean Producers was the top advancer, up 53 cents to close at $4.65, followed by Medical Disposables and Supplies, up 83 cents to close at $7.49, and T-Tech, up 65 cents to close at $18. The main decliners were 1834 Investments, down 22 cents to close at $1.88, followed by Margaritaville Turks losing 4 cents to close at 35 cents, and Lasco Manufacturing down 41 cents to close at $4.54. In foreign exchange trading, the Jamaican dollar lost ground on the U.S. today, but gained on the Canadian and the British pound. The U.S. ended the day selling for $121.11. gaining 13 cents on the Jamaican dollar. The Canadian dollar lost 67 cents to the Jamaican, closing the day at $97.70, while the British pound sold for 12 cents less than yesterday, going for $159.13 on average. And that's all the news for this evening, but before we go, a recap of our top story. The National Housing Trust, NHT, plans to spend over $29 billion in housing solutions by the end of the 2018 fiscal year. Thanks for watching. For more content, visit our website at batvja.com. I'm Kalila Reynolds. Pleasant viewing.